Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. First of all, my sincere apologies for being late. I completely forgot that the class is at 7 o'clock. That 7:30 time is still in my mind. Sorry for that. So just now he called me and I said I'll join at 7:15. Okay. Thank you. So we will start now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for our third session of Bhagavad Gita series. So we discussed the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita yesterday. We started. And in the first 10 shlokas of this chapter, our Arjuna expresses his further doubts and confusions and finally accepts Krishna as Guru. Krishna, so far you are acting as my driver, but now I am requesting you to become my teacher, Guru, and please enlighten me. I am unable to drive away this grief on my own. Okay. So then Krishna begins his teachings of Bhagavad Gita from the 11th shloka. So just to give a quick recap, in the 11th shloka, Krishna said, Ashotya nanasochastvam prajna vadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanu sochanti panditaha. So you are lamenting for that which is not worthy of grief. You are speaking very learned words as a very wise person, as a pandita, but you are crying or you are mourning for something which is not worth. Okay. So he said that. Because gross body is temporary anyways, there should be no lamentation for the destruction of gross body because it will anyways die. Okay, should we lament for subtle body? No. Even when the gross body is destroyed, subtle body exists, right? So our visible body, which is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and all the limbs that we have, eyes and hands and legs, so they will be destroyed one day. So there is no point lamenting. Just because we are crying, we will not get the body, we will not keep the body eternally. So should we lament for subtle body then? What is subtle body? Man, buddhi, ahankar. No point lamenting for man, buddhi, ahankar also. Because even when gross body is destroyed, the subtle body takes the soul from this gross body to another gross body. Okay. So in the next gross body, the mind will start functioning again. Intelligence will start functioning again. All the unfulfilled desires in one gross body will be again revived in the next gross body. So mind is a storehouse of so many thoughts and desires and impressions and feelings, right? So all these are carried to the next life and person will start pursuing the left out desires in the new body. So subtle body is not destroyed. Subtle body is destroyed only when one gets liberated. Liberation is the stage where material mind, material intelligence and material ego will be destroyed. But as long as we don't attain liberation, material subtle body will remain existent. And gross body, we keep on changing. So there is no point lamenting for gross body or subtle body. So are you lamenting for the soul? Soul is eternal. There is no death only. right? So there is death for gross body anyways. There is no death for subtle body to attain liberation. And there is no death for soul, whether it is in liberated state or conditioned state, soul is always eternal. So whom are you lamenting for? There's no point lamenting for anything. Okay, this is philosophy, thick philosophy. Then in the 12th sloka, our Krishna says, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam nime janadhipa. All these things always existed. You always existed. I always existed. So there is no time where all of us are not existent. So the individuality of a soul is eternal, even in a liberated state or in conditioned state. In the 13th sloka, Krishna gives an example. Even within one body, the soul passes through different stages of the body. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. So within one lifetime only, your body keeps changing. When we were kids, we had small body, right? We were sitting in somebody's lap, okay? But now no grown-up person will sit in someone's lap, right? So people are grown up. So that kid body is gone. Infant body is gone. Childhood body is gone. Youthful body is also gone. Middle-aged body is also gone after some time. Then what is remaining? Old body. Fragile body is remaining. And that will also go and people will die. So body keeps on changing. So it's always subjected to change. Change of body is very natural. So there is no point lamenting for such change, inevitable change. And if you are a dhira, a sober person, you should never lament for it. Soul is ever alive, body is never alive. So now Arjuna gives an argument. Okay, I understand your point, but I am able to connect with all my relatives like Bhishma, Drona, etc. only through their bodies. So I understand soul is eternal, but my connection or my interaction with these people is only through the body. Therefore, I must lament for the loss of body. Then Krishna says, tolerate. You should tolerate. Matra sparshaastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha daha agamapayino nityaha tamstitikshasva bharata. We should tolerate the dualities on a bodily plane. They are heat and cold. We should also tolerate the dualities on a mental plane. That is happiness and distress, or joy and sorrow. We need to tolerate both. Why? What is the logic behind tolerating joy? We discussed yesterday. Okay. So tam stitikshasva bharata. Tolerate dualities. So Krishna is not failing to acknowledge the pain of Arjuna, but he's only trying to make Arjuna more wiser and think in a more rational and philosophical and intellectual way and not sentimental way. Yes, I understand your sentiments. We understand your emotions, but at the same time, you should not become too sentimental. Having sentiments is not wrong. Being sentimental is wrong. Having emotions is not wrong. Being overly emotional and thus becoming dysfunctional, that is wrong. Therefore, we need to balance our sentiments and emotions with philosophy, rational thinking, logical thinking, right? So that's very, very important. Even the modern world also is recognizing the importance of philosophical reconciliation of things, right? So we make all arrangements for tolerating heat and cold, or dealing with heat and cold, right? How many arrangements do we make to deal with happiness and distress? Whenever there is summer, we have our fans on, ACs on. Whenever it is winter, we have our jackets and mufflers and hoodie and shawls and sweaters and socks and gloves, whatever, depending on the weather, okay, depending on the intensity of cold. So we make arrangements to deal with heat and cold. But are we prepared to deal with happiness and distress? Sometimes when there is happiness, we are so overrelated, overconfident, overexcited, proud, inattentive, right? And when there is distress, when there is a difficulty, we are so distressed, depressed, demotivated, discouraged, and become dysfunctional. So we need to understand the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and prepare ourselves to face the inevitable dualities of this material world. Okay. So now there is one nice what to say, question I have for all of you. Now that we have some license, there is no target for completing syllabus. I can have more interactive session. I can be more natural now. So Krishna told Arjuna, you tolerate. Okay. Arjuna says, yes, I will tolerate. I will tolerate whatever difficulties that these Kauravas have caused us. They have sent us to Vanavas. They have taken away our kingdom. They have cheated us. They tried to kill us. They tried to attack us. They set fire on our house. We did so many things. So I'll tolerate all that. Okay, I will not fight with them. But Krishna says fight. So is Krishna being inconsistent in his teachings? So yesterday we discussed, right? Krishna in the 17th chapter taught Anudvegakaram Vakyam Satyam Prihatam Chet. You remember that? Yesterday we discussed about Krishna speaking about unagitating speech. But he began his Bhagavad Gita talk by agitating Arjuna. That's the contradiction. Now, I have another question for you. Contradictory behavior or speech of Krishna. Krishna is telling Arjuna, you learned the art of tolerance. And Arjuna is saying the same thing. I will tolerate all that nonsense that I have done. So I will not fight. I will just go and beg. I will be detached. I don't want any kingdom and all. So just leave me. But Krishna says, no, don't tolerate. Just fight. Okay. So how is it justified? Who will answer this question? Anyone? You can raise your hands. No one? Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Mandaleshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, last time you told that miser word, that if you are having qualities, you have to utilize that, otherwise you are miser.
Okay. How is it connected to my question?
You told that tolerate, you are told to tolerate, but you should use the, as per your, he's in a, what, Kshatriya, he's a Kshatriya. He has to fight. That is his dharma, not to fight.
Okay. Okay, fine. No problem. Any other perspectives? There's so many hands are there. You only unmute yourself and then speak instead of me. Okay, second hand is Anandita Mataji. Mataji, you can speak.
Hare Krishna Pranam. Actually, earlier, Krishna is trying to explain to him not to get agitated just because of bodily connections. These is temporary. So why are you, again, the second thing is that being a Kshatriya, your duty is to fight, not to just go off from the battlefield, show your back. So this is what he is saying.
My question. Let me repeat my question. Krishna is asking Arjuna to learn the art of tolerance. And Arjuna says, yes, I will tolerate all their injustices. Okay. But why Krishna is telling, don't tolerate, just fight with them? That's the question. Is Krishna contradicting himself?
It's dharam. So being a Kshatriya, you have to fight for good reasons.
Okay.
So that's what.
Okay, fine, correct. Okay. Anything else? One last question, one last perspective take.
Sorry,
Yes.
Just
Yes,
like parents are allowed to chastise their children, like you said yesterday, Arjuna, he's acting as he being on the righteous side, chastising the aggressors would fall in the same category. So he's actually allowed to do that to establish the
good. Okay, good perspective. All your perspectives are valid, but let me inform you that Krishna told tolerate the dualities. Tolerate the dualities on a bodily level, mental level, egoistic level. So Krishna talks about 3 types of dualities in Bhagavad Gita. Sukha Dukkhe, then Sukham Dukkham. First is Sitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Tatha Manapa Manayoho. Sita and Ushna means heat and cold on bodily level. Sukha Dukkha, happiness and distress on mental level. Man Apman means honor and dishonor, respect and disrespect on an egoistic level. So in this material world, we should learn the art of tolerance at all 3 levels: physical level, mental level, and egoistic level. right? Man Apman, Sukha Dukha, Sitoshna, all three we need to tolerate. So Krishna is teaching the art of tolerating dualities at 3 levels, but Krishna is never teaching the art of tolerating injustice. In the name of tolerance, in the name of humility, in the name of simplicity, in the name of detachment, we should not allow ourselves to get exploited by unscrupulous people. Okay. When a small child is being abused, or when an innocent person, weak person is being abused, should we tolerate it? Or should we just confront and do the needful to rectify the situation? Right? So, tolerance is not tolerance of injustice. Tolerance is tolerance of the inevitable pain that is caused by dualities in this world. Okay, we need to apply tolerance in such a way that life becomes simple. But we should not inculcate tolerance in such a way that life becomes complicated. You understand? So we should not complicate our life by tolerating injustice or nonsense. We should cultivate tolerance in such a way that our life becomes little easy to go, right? We should not become so overwhelmed with happiness or distress, and we should have the ability to tolerate. So that ability to tolerate happiness and distress will make our life more smooth. But if we tolerate injustices, if we allow ourselves to get exploited by others, if we allow others to encroach upon our space or our rights, then life will become more complicated. If we give in to certain temptations, if we are unable to tolerate the temptations, if we give in to temptations, then life becomes more complicated, right? So tolerance should make our life more smooth and not complicated, right? So when there is a requirement, when there is a necessity to confront with something or someone, it's necessary for us to confront. We should not unnecessarily tolerate injustice. So Krishna told Arjuna, you don't tolerate the injustice done by your relatives, fight with them, kill them, then you tolerate separation from them, right? Tolerate separation from your relatives, but don't tolerate the nonsense that they have done. As a Kshatriya, your duty is to confront with nonsense, confront with adharma and establish dharma. In the name of tolerance, you cannot give up your duty of establishing dharma and support adharma, right? That is not tolerance. That's not the kind of tolerance that Krishna is teaching us. We need to understand the context properly, right? Next. When we try to practice this tolerance or tolerating dualities, it's like wearing shoes. For example, you are walking on the road and the road is very hot in summer. The road is filled with so many pebbles and thorns and other sharp objects. But if you wear shoes, then they will not prick you. Similarly, in this material world also, there are so many difficulties and dualities. But if we wear the shoe of tolerance, those difficulties and dualities will not affect us. Clear? Okay, this is about tolerance. Next. So, result of tolerance is a more balanced life.
One question, sorry. What's the third? Tolerate the duality. You said physical, mental, and what was the third one?
Egoistic.
But ego and mental aren't the same thing.
Definitely not. We need to have a more elaborate discussion just to understand the difference between mind, intelligence, and ego. The subtle body has 3 ingredients or 3 constituents: mind, intelligence, ego. Man, buddhi, ahankar, MBA. We discussed it yesterday. So mind is a storehouse of thoughts, feelings, desires, okay, emotions, right? That's what mind does. But mind does not have the ability to discriminate. Who does that discrimination job? Intelligence. So for example, I have a desire. So mind has a desire. Okay. But whether the desire is good or bad, right or wrong, auspicious or inauspicious, beneficial or harmful, all that analysis is done by intelligence. The role of intelligence is to plan, to scheme, to analyze, to discriminate, to differentiate, to discern what is right, what is wrong. That is the role of intelligence. So next is ego, ahankar. So what is the role of ego? Basically, ego, the basic definition of ego is a sense of identity, right? So we all need a sense of identity. So we have two types of ego. One is false ego, second is true ego. What is our true identity? Jivera Swarupahai Krishnera Nitya Das. All of us are eternal servants of Krishna. That's our true identity or true ego. Fine. But what is false ego then? False ego is that we embrace some temporary identities. I'm a doctor. I'm a patient. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. I'm an employee of a company. I'm a carpenter. I'm a plumber. I'm an architect. I'm a scientist, right? So I'm a president of some country, or I'm chief minister of some state. So these are all temporary identities, right? When we embrace those temporary identities, or when we overly identify with those temporary roles and responsibilities and designations, we develop a sense of pride or envy, superiority complex or inferiority complex. All that is under the umbrella of false ego. Ego is basically a sense of identity, and all the negative attitude that we develop because of that wrong identity or designation that we have created. That is ego. So what is mind's role? Mind's role is to become a subservient of ego. Okay. What does mind do? Mind's function in our subtle body is to become a subservient of false ego. If I think I'm a king, my mind's thoughts, desires, feelings, all of them are aligned with that identity as a king. If I think I'm a beggar, then my mind starts thinking, feeling, and willing like a beggar. Okay. So that's the difference between mind and ego. Is it clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's continue. So next, 15 shloka. Yam hina vyathayantyate purusham purusharabha. We discussed this. Samadukha sukham dhiram somritattvaya kalpati. So dhira is a person who is able to maintain sama, equanimity, amidst dukkha and sukha. Happiness comes sometimes, distress comes sometimes in this world. But we need to maintain sama or equanimity. Then we are called dhira. Otherwise we are adhira. Then when we are able to maintain that equanimity in material duality, then we are eligible for liberation. So amritatvaya kalpati. Amritatva means a state of liberation. We discussed with so many examples yesterday. Okay. So next, 16 shloka. I think we did 16 also, correct. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi drushtantah panayoho tattvadarshibhi. Means of the non-existent or temporary material body, there is no endurance. But for the soul, there is no change. Many great souls have taught us this point. So now let's begin the 17th shloka. Who will recite? Avinashitu tadvidhi. Hare Krishna. You can unmute Mataji. Dayanvita Mataji. Avinashitu.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Avinashitu tadvidhi.
Avinashu tu tat vidhi.
Yena sarvamidam tatam.
Yena sarvam idam tatam.
Vinasham avyayastasya.
Vinasham avyayastat yasya.
Nakaschit kartum arhati.
Nakaschit kartum arhati.
Avinashitu tadvidhi. Yena sarvamidam tatam. Avinashi means indestructible. Okay. So the soul whose effect or whose presence is manifest throughout the body is indestructible. Tadvidhi, please understand that entire body is pervaded by soul. Basically, soul is in the heart region, and the effect of the soul, which is consciousness, is spread throughout the body. So when the soul is present inside the body, in the heart of a person, every single limb of that body becomes conscious, right? So if there is a small pinprick at the tip of this little finger, we feel that pain because there is consciousness. And that consciousness is a symptom of soul, right? The soul is there. Soul symptom is consciousness. Only when soul is there, the body is conscious. As soon as the soul leaves the body becomes unconscious. So when the soul is there, even a pinprick creates so much pain. When the soul is not there, even if you cut the body into small pieces, nothing will happen. Even if the body is burned to ashes, and are buried underground, or some vulture or a fox or a tiger eats the body, so nothing happens because the soul left the body, right? So soul creates consciousness or causes consciousness in the body. Vinasham avyayasyasya nakaschit kartum arhasi. Okay, so that imperishable soul cannot be destroyed. No one can destroy the soul, and soul cannot destroy any other soul also. The soul cannot kill anyone. The soul cannot be killed by anyone. Fine. So Prabhupada writes that the size of the soul is 1/10,000th of the tip of a hair. Okay. So what is this measurement? Do you really think the soul has that measurement? And what is the size of the soul in the spiritual world? Same. So any comments on that? Any comment on the size of the soul? You can answer. What do you think about the size of soul? Anyone who? So many hands are there, but who is ready to speak? Gaurav Prabhu, you want to speak?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Bhajan. Yeah, so I was just thinking that if the size of the soul is so small, and the spiritual world also, the size of the soul remains same. And now we know the total, out of the total creation, it is said like 3/4 of the creation is spiritual world. So we can understand like so much of.
So my question based on your answer is, if the soul's size remains the same in the spiritual world also, how will the soul function? There is a body around the soul with hands and legs and all. Soul is 1/10,000th of the tip of a hair. I don't have hair here, but 1/10,000th of the tip of a hair. Okay, if that is the size of the soul, what is the interactions there? Is there a separate body around the soul there in the spiritual world?
But though the size of the soul is small, but the souls also have senses, spiritual senses, it is said. So through the spiritual senses, we interact with the other spiritual entities in the spiritual world.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me tell you the fact. This is not the size of the soul. What's mentioned here, 1/10,000, it's not exactly or literally the size of the soul. It is only given in the scriptures to tell us that the soul is so small or so subtle or spiritual that you cannot measure it. If you give this measurement 1/10,000, nobody will think of measuring the soul or trying to see the soul with our eyes. So basically this kind of figure is given only to tell us, only to inform us that soul is so sukshma, soul is so spiritual that you cannot perceive it with your material eyes. Okay. However, in the spiritual world, there is absolutely no difference between body and soul. For example, there is a Vishnu Duta in Vaikuntha, or Gopa or Gopi in the Goloka Vrindavan. Their body is completely spiritual. Hands are spiritual, legs are spiritual, face and eyes and everything is spiritual. Their bodies are not made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, like our bodies. Their bodies are made of Satchit Ananda, right? So they are all eternal and knowledgeable and completely spiritual and blissful bodies, that there is no difference between body and soul. There the person's size can be so huge. Govardhan mountain is so huge, it's completely spiritual. Tree is spiritual. It's not that in the spiritual world, there's a small 1/10,000th tip of a hair that sized soul inside a tree body and the tree is so big. No. Entire tree is totally spirit. It's not matter. Right? So we need to understand that this is just some indication is given that the soul is so subtle that you cannot see with your material eyes. Okay. Next shloka. You will answer. Sumitra Mataji. Antavanta ime deha.
Antavanta ime deha.
Nityasyoktaha sharirinaha.
Nityasyokta sariniha.
Anashino aprameyasya.
Anasino prameyasya.
Tasmad yudhyasva bharata.
Tasmad yudhyasva bharata.
So, antavanta ime deha nityasyoktaha sharirinaha. So, there is an end to the body, sharira, but the person who is living in the body is called shariri. So for deha, there is end. But shariri, the person who is living in the body, is nitya. Antavanta ime deha. The deha has an end, but nitya, sharirinaha, the person inside the body, is nitya, eternal. Anashino aprameyasya. There is no nashana for that person. There is no end. Then tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Therefore, just fight. Okay, you don't have to worry. There is no need to lament for a perishable body. Just fight. So we are born in this material world, and the material world is like a prison cell. We already have a death sentence which is unknown to us. Sometimes death may come tomorrow or day after tomorrow, after 100 years, or maybe at this moment only, right? But we don't know when we will die. But death is guaranteed for a person who takes birth. Next, Rishabhamitra Prabhu. Ya enam vetti hantaram.
Yenam vetti hantaram.
Yaschenam manyate hatam.
Yaschenam manyate hatam.
Ubhautau na vijanito.
Bhautau na vijanito.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
So here, ya enam vetti hantaram yaschenam manyate hatam. The soul doesn't kill or will not get killed by someone. So there is no possibility of souls getting killed or killing somebody. So there is absolutely no need for you to lament. Soul cannot be killed. Soul is not the killer. Okay, that's the meaning of this shloka. I'm just making it smaller. So that does not mean we keep killing animals. So sometimes people may think that anyways, soul has no death and body will anyways die. What if I kill somebody's body and eat their flesh? What's the problem? Anyways, I'm not killing the soul. No. The understanding of the eternal nature of the soul should not encourage us to be violent towards the bodies of other living beings. Although the soul is eternal and the body is temporary, that does not give us a license to kill the body. Because what happens is when we kill the body of another living being, we are misusing our minute independence. We are committing a sinful activity. And that sinful activity will give us some karma or reaction. When we perform an action, we get a reaction. Okay. So the word karma has multiple meanings. Karma basically means action, work. Karma also means reaction to an action. Karma also means a fruitive action. Fruitive action means you perform an activity desiring some fruit. Okay, that's the third meaning. Karma also means prescribed action. The scriptures prescribe that Kshatriyas are supposed to do this, Brahmanas are supposed to do this. Like that, the scriptures prescribe certain actions. They are called prescribed actions, Vidyuk Dharma, Swadharma. That is fourth meaning. Then fifth is the whole chain of actions and reactions is called karma. Clear? 5 meanings of the word karma we have seen now. So anyways, when we perform good karma, good activity, we'll gain pious credits. When we perform bad activities, we gain impious credits. Okay. So therefore, when we are living in a human body, we are supposed to lead our human life in a more responsible way by aligning our activities with proper morals and principles and teachings of the scriptures. When that is not there, when we kill other people unnecessarily by quoting Bhagavad Gita shloka, I cannot kill anyone. The soul cannot kill anyone. The soul cannot be killed by anyone. Therefore, I will kill the bodies. Not a problem for my tongue's satisfaction. So that will create karma, and the soul will be more plunged into more and more material bodies. Okay, to experience all the material results. So 20th shloka. Who will recite this? Vivek Dang Prabhu. Najayate mriyate va kadachin.
Ajayate mriyate va kadachin.
Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah.
Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya.
Ajo nityah shashvatoyam purado.
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतो यं पुराणो
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Krishna is saying, na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Na jayate means the soul has no birth. Okay. Mriyate, the soul has no death. Kadachin, at any time. Okay. There was never a time where the soul was born or soul dies. Nityam, what is this? Kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha. The soul has never come into being, will not come into being, has not come into being. Basically, there is no past, present, or future for the soul. There is only past, present, and future for the activities of the soul, but not for the existence of the soul. Soul exists in all three phases of time. You cannot trace back t equal to 0. Okay. Since time immemorial, soul has been existing. For the rest of eternity, soul will exist. The activities keep changing. Okay. Next, ajo nityaha. Aja means unborn. Nityaha means permanent. Shāstrata means eternal. Ayam, this soul is purano, primeval. Na hanyate, it is not killed. Hanyamane sharire, when the sharira, when the body is killed, the soul is not killed. Basically, Krishna is repeating the same point so that it becomes ingrained in the consciousness of the hearers. Okay. Qualitatively, all souls are same, but the capacity or the qualities that they exhibit are different from each other. Okay. But qualitatively, all souls are same. You, me, and all these kings are eternal. But there is a difference in their capacities. So how are we different from Krishna? Krishna is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He is the maintainer of all. He is full of knowledge and bliss. But are we so? No. Right? Krishna is eternal. We are also eternal. But we are not omnipotent. We are not omniscient. We are not omnipresent. Omnipotent means he has all kinds of potencies, energies. Omniscient means he knows everything. Omnipresent means he is present everywhere. We can't be present everywhere, by the way. Okay. He maintains everyone and is full of knowledge and bliss. But our knowledge is covered by ignorance sometimes. We are not always blissful. We become unhappy sometimes. Okay. What is the similarity between Krishna and us? Both are eternal. That's all. Both are spiritual. But there is, in terms of qualities, there is a lot of difference. So we know all these shlokas, all these examples, ocean and drop, fire and spark, we have seen yesterday also. 21st shloka. Divya Leela Mataji. Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Yaenam ajam avyayam.
Yaenam ajayam avyayam.
Katham sa purushah partha.
Katham sa purushah partha.
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Veda avinashinam nityam. Please understand. Veda means you understand what? Avinashinam. There is no nashana for the soul. It's nityam. Ya enam ajam avyayam. Again, similar words Krishna is repeating. Ajam avyayam. Inexhaustible and unborn. Katham sa purushah partha. Kam ghatayati hantikam. No one can kill the soul. How can it be killed by anyone? So that's Krishna's 21st shloka. So then 22nd, he gives a simple example. Vrindavan Vasi Prabhu. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya.
Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya.
Navani grihnati naroparani.
Navani grihnati naroparani.
Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani.
Tata sharirani vihaya jirnani.
Anyami sanyati navani dehi.
Anyani samyati navani dehi.
Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya means we wear clothes, and when the clothes become very old, we give them up and we take new clothes. Right? Navani grihnati, we accept new clothes. Similarly, tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani. When the sharira becomes jirna, means completely emaciated and useless, old, then we give up that body. Anyani samyati navani dehi, and we accept new bodies, right? Anyani, new bodies we take. So this is inevitable. So changing of bodies is like changing of clothes. So changing of bodies is also like changing of homes. Somebody is working at one place. Say he has some job in Delhi. and he stays in a house. After 3 years, he gets transferred to Mumbai. Then he'll take up a job in Mumbai, right? And after 4 years, he'll quit the job in Mumbai. He may go to San Francisco, right? From there, he may go to Melbourne in Australia. So like that, people may have to change the residential places, geographical locations, homes, clothes. Similarly, we change bodies also, right? So all these things are not permanent. We understand that, but why can't we understand that body is not permanent? But when somebody is too much in bodily conception, they don't even understand that their homes are not permanent. Their clothes are not permanent. Sometimes people are so attached to their clothes. Oh, this is my favorite coat, right? With this coat, I went to my 10th standard exam and I got first class. Oh, in my 11th standard also, I wear the same coat. 12th standard also same clothes. So there's a lot of attachment to pen, attachment to home, attachment to phone, attachment to everything in this world. First thing, your body itself is not belonging to you. Within this body, only we are not living. So many germs and organisms, other living beings are also living, right? So the body, one body can be residence of multiple souls. How can you claim any proprietorship over that body, right? If your body itself does not belong to you, how can all the bodily possessions belong to you? This table is not yours. This laptop is not yours. This chair is not yours. As long as some things are in your possession, we should responsibly utilize them in Krishna's seva. We should responsibly utilize our senses in Krishna's service. Hrishikena hrishikesa sevanam bhakti ruchyate. In the Mukundamala Stotra, Kulashekharal verses. Jihve kirtaya keshavam muraripum cheto bhaja sridharam pani dvandva samarchaya chuta katha Shrotradvayatvam shrunu Krishnam lokaya lochana dvaya harer gacchangri yugmalayam jighra ghrana mukunda pada tulasim murdhanda madhokshajam. Jihve kirtaya. Utilize your tongue to glorify Krishna. Jihve kirtaya keshavam. Muraripum cheto bhaja. Utilize your mind in thinking of Krishna. Right? Cheto bhaja sridharam pani dvandva samarchaya. Use your 2 hands in doing archana, in worshipping Krishna. Achyuta kathaha shrotadvayatvam shrunu. Use your 2 ears in hearing about Krishna. Krishnam lokaya lochana dvaya harer. Use your 2 eyes to see the beautiful form of Krishna's deity. Gacchangre yugmalayam. Use your legs to walk to Krishna's temple. Right? Jighra ghrana mukunda pada tulasim murdhanda madhokshajam. Use your nostrils to smell the tulasi leaves offered to Krishna's lotus feet. And use your head to bow down in front of Krishna. This is how we need to utilize this material body. Yes, material body is temporary. It's perishable. It's not eternal. It is subject to destruction. But as long as we are living in this material body, it is our responsibility to utilize that body in Krishna's seva. Then, after leaving this body, we'll reach Krishna. Otherwise, after leaving this body, we'll attain another material body to continue with our material desires. And that birth and death cycle will just go on forever. Clear? So, next. Prabhupada quotes this Upanishad and says that there are 2 birds on a tree. Okay. They are like the soul and super soul. One bird is enjoying the fruits like this, other bird is just witnessing. Similarly, the living being is trying to enjoy material pleasures, but the super soul is witnessing. Okay. But the super soul, although living in the material body, is not attached to the material body. But the soul becomes attached to the material body. There's a difference between soul and super soul. So death is just a transition to another level of existence, not termination of existence. It's a transition and not termination. We need to understand this. By ending, every ending also has a beginning. We may end one body, and the body may die when we commit suicide or do something else, or natural death. But that's not ending. that is beginning of another body, right? Every beginning has an ending, and every ending has a beginning in this world. Okay. So death is just a transition from one existence to another existence, and not a termination of existence permanently. Okay. 23rd shloka. I think I'll show the table from Subodhini. That may make things easy. 23 to 25. Who will recite? In line we can recite. Jayadvaita Prabhu. Nainam chindanti shastrani.
Nainam chindanti shastrani.
Nainam dahati pavakaham.
Nainam dahati pavakaha.
Nachainam kledayantyapo.
Nachainam kledayantyapo.
Nasoshayati marutaham.
Nasoshayati marutaha.
Okay. Anandita Mataji. Achedyoyam adahyoyam. We can't hear you, Mataji. Kanchana Varna Mataji. Achedyoyam adahyoyam.
Achedyoyam adahyoyam.
Akledyososya evacha.
Akledyososya evacha.
Nityah sarvagatah sthanur.
Nityah sarvagatah sthanur.
Achaloyam sanatanah.
Achaloyam sanatanaha.
Next, Rukmini Mataji. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam.
Avyaktoyam achintyoyam.
Avikaryoyam uchyate.
Avikaryoyam uchyate.
Tasmadevam viditvainam.
Tasmadevam viditvainam.
Nanushochitum arhasi.
Nanushochitam arhasi.
So, Nainam chindanti shastrani means soul cannot be cut by weapons. Clear? Shastra means weapons. Chindanti means to cut. Soul cannot be cut by weapons. Nainam dahati pavakaha. Soul cannot be burned by fire. Nachainam kledayantyapo. Soul cannot be moistened by water. Apa means water. Na soshayati marutaha. Soul cannot be withered by wind. Why Krishna is speaking in this language now? Suddenly he says, this Shastra cannot kill, that Shastra cannot kill. Basically, a warrior in the battlefield is equipped with two kinds of weapons. One is Astra, second is Shastra. Okay. So, Shastra is a weapon that we use with our strength, physical strength. Okay. But Astra is a weapon that we use with our mantra strength. Right? You have seen in some old serials or movies, right? The hero will pick up one bow or an arrow, and an arrow looks same, and he will just meditate on something. Say, meditate on fire, and he will release that arrow. And from the tip of the arrow, some crackers will come, right? Some fire will come. Or he will just meditate on water, and then he will release an arrow, and from the end of that arrow, tap water will come. Basically, some water. That's water weapon. So there is Agneyastra, Vayuyastra, Varunastra, wind weapon, fire weapon, water weapon. There are different types of weapons used in the battlefield. Right? They are called Shastras. Okay. They are called Astras. Shastra means that which you use with your physical strength. So Krishna is saying that Nainam chindanti shastrani. Shastras means weapons cannot kill the soul. You may have great physical strength, but you cannot kill the soul. But you may have great mystic weapons also. Fire weapon, water weapon, wind weapon. They also cannot kill the soul. Right? Next shloka is Achedyoyam adahyoyam. You cannot break the soul. You cannot burn the soul. And akledyo, soul is insoluble. It cannot be dried. Nityaha, everlasting. Sarvagataha, exists everywhere. People may think that within fire there are no souls, or in other planets there are no living beings. No. Soul can exist in any place. So if you just dig earth, you'll find some living beings there. Soul can exist inside the earth also. You may think people may get suffocated. No. The bodies of the soul are created in such a way that they can survive in the earth also. A human body cannot survive in ocean, but a fish body can survive. So souls are there in the ocean also. In the depths of the ocean also souls are there. In the depths of earth also there are souls. In fire there are souls. In ether there are souls. In Svargaloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, there are souls, upper planets. In the lower planets like Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Patala, there are souls. Souls are everywhere. Sarvagataha. Okay. So next is Sthanur, unchangeable. Achaloyam. Unchangeable means, you see, for example, you are wearing a nice, expensive diamond ring, golden ring, okay, on your finger. And somehow it just falls off in gutter. Will you pick it up or will you leave it? Arey, we will pick it up. It went into gutter, Suez Canal. Okay, you are doing some Vrindavan Parikrama. There's some open Suez Canal there. Okay, some pigs are also moving around there. And you somehow happen to lose your new diamond ring, which is worth 1 lakh rupees. Will you pick it up or will you leave it? You'll pick it up, right? If your face mark falls in that Suez Canal, you will not pick it up, right? Naturally. So you'll just leave it. I'll leave it 5 rupees, 2 rupees, 10 rupees. I'll not use it anymore. But if diamond ring falls down, you'll pick it up. Even if it's filthy place, you'll pick it up. Why? The reason is that face mask, when it comes in contact with the thick Suez, it's not usable anymore. Okay, you cannot use it. You cannot again put on your nose or mouth. But if a diamond ring falls in gutter, you can pick it up, wash it. If required, wash it with soap, and then you take a bath also, but you can use it, continue to use it. Because the thick Suez will not penetrate into your diamond, penetrate into your gold and spoil it. While it penetrates into that face mask and spoil it. Okay. So you can undo the effect of that sewage on the ring, but not on the mask, right? Similarly, even if the soul falls down into this material world, even if the soul stays in this material body, the soul's properties remain unchanged. Soul will never change. Soul is Sat Chit Ananda. The soul's quality of being an eternal lover of Krishna, eternal servant of Krishna, eternal Amsha of Krishna is an eternal fact, and there is no change in it, right? So the soul's brilliance or shine may not be visible or manifest to our eyes because of being in a material body. That does not mean the soul will lose its natural properties or qualities. That's very important for us to understand. Therefore, we should not hate any living being. Although the living beings may behave in unmentionable ways at times, that does not give us a license to ridicule them or hate them or develop some bitter feelings or attitude towards them. Right? We should respect everyone for their being the souls, being parts of Krishna. Okay, so we discussed all these 3 shlokas. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushuchitam arhasi. So this also has a similar straightforward meaning. So anyways, I'll show once again. So avyaktoyam, it's imperceptible. Achintya, inconceivable. It has inconceivable characteristics. Avikaryoyam means there is no vikara. There are no transformations or there are no changes for the soul. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitam arhasi. Therefore, please don't lament. Just focus on your duty. Okay. So next shloka. Okay. These are all different points that we have already discussed. Soul is not moistened by water. Soul is not burned by fire. Soul cannot be dried. So, soul is bulletproof, fire-proof, waterproof, and time-proof. Soul is not susceptible to any of these contaminations. So next comes, 25th also we discussed. I will just move ahead. 26th. Harshita Mataji. Atha chainam nitya jatam.
Atha chainam nitya jatam.
Nityam va manyase mritam.
Nityam va manyase mritam.
Tathapi tvam mahabaho.
Tathapi tvam mahabaho.
Nainam shochitum arhasi.
Nainam shochitum arhasi.
Atha chainam nitya jatam. O Mahabaho Arjuna, if, however, if you think that soul dies, now Krishna, after in the last 15 shlokas, 11th shloka till 25th shloka, Krishna established that soul has no death. But now he is presenting an imaginary argument according to some other doctrines or philosophies. Even if you think that the soul dies, right? Just for an argument, even if you think so, still, and you think that soul dies and soul takes birth again. Nitya Jata means it's always taking birth. Okay, Mritam, it also dies. Okay, even if you think so, still, Naitam Shochitam Arhasi. There is no reason for you to lament. Because one who dies will anyways take birth again. So if the soul dies, but the soul will take birth again, right? So what's the point of lamenting? So there is no point lamenting for whether the soul is deathless or subjected to death. So there is no need to lament. So next, 27th, very popular shloka. Anandita Mataji. Jatasya hidhravo mrityar. We can't hear you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Jatasya hidhravo mrityar.
Jatasya hi dhruvor mrityur.
Dhruvam janma mritasya cha.
Dhruvam janma mritasya cha.
Tasmad apariharyerthe.
Tasmad apariharyerthe.
Natvam shochitum arhasi.
Natvam sochitam arhasi.
Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur. For someone who has taken birth, mrityu or death is dhruva, is certain, pakka. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha. For one who has appeared, who is born, mriti, death is certain. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who is died, birth is certain. Tasmad apariharyerthe natvam shochitam arhasi. So therefore, you should not lament for this inevitable birth-death cycle. Okay, birth is mandatory, death is mandatory. So now, birth is dependent on the activities that we do in this life. For example, somebody is so addicted to eating flesh, eating meat. Then the Lord will give that person the birth of a lion or a tiger or a fox, which is accustomed to eat meat. Or somebody is so attached to a particular person. The Lord may make this attached man as a dog in front of the person whom he is attached to. You know that story, Kailash? You know Kailash story? How many of you know Kailash's story? Nobody? Okay, few people know. So there is one person named Kailash. Narada Muni goes to him and says, you can please take to spiritual path now. You are a human being, you should perfect your human life. I will teach you Bhakti. You please start performing Bhakti. Kailash said, okay, thank you so much, Narada Muni. You are so kind upon me. I am very grateful to you. But can you please give me some time? Now my children are very young. They cannot. Just 1 second. My children are very young. They won't be able to take care of themselves properly. So once they are little grown up, then I will start Bhakti. Narada Muni goes away and comes after a few years. Children are little grown up now. Then Kailash says, thank you, Narada Muni, you came back to meet me. But my request is, I should first get my kids married, then I will start Bhakti. Then, to cut the long story short, Narada Muni comes again after some time. Children are married. Now Kailash says, my children are not very well trained in taking care of their business and estate and other fields and crops. I'll give them some training to take care of this property nicely. Then I can peacefully retire. I can start Bhakti. Then Narada Muni comes after a few years. Then by this time, Kailash had some grandchildren also. Then Kailash says that Narada Muni, now I cannot come with you. because my children are very busy with their business and agriculture and other things. They are unable to give proper attention to their children. So my grandchildren are very much dependent on me. I need to train them. I need to teach them ABCD and all. So once they are little grown up, then I will come. Okay, fine. Next time Narada Muni comes. Now Kailash is not there. Why? There is a dog in front of Narada Muni, in front of that home. Because Kailash has taken birth as a dog. Because he is so attached to that house that he has made and all the family members, he has taken birth as a dog in front of that very home. Then Narada Muni says that Kailash, although you are in a dog body, with my mystic power or with my spiritual strength, I can teach you how to perform bhakti. Even now also it's not late, you come to me, come with me. Then Kailash says, I have earned so much property in my past life as Kailash. Now my children are not taking care of this property nicely. And this is a very thief-prone area, theft-prone area. So many thieves are coming and they may attack my property. My children may not be very alert in saving their property. So I should always guard this property nicely. Okay. Then when there is an official police station nearby and there is a security guard in the street, then I can peacefully come with you. Then Narada Muni said, okay, fine. After some years, Narada Muni came again. The dog, he asked the people in their family. So there used to be a dog here. Then they said dog died. Then Narada Muni started living. Then Kailash was there as a snake. Kailash is saying, Narada Muni, I'm here. Look at me. See me, I'm here. Then Narada Muni looked at him. Oh, Kailash, you have become a snake now. Okay, no problem. At least come with me now. I'll teach you Bhakti Yoga. Then Kailash said, no. In my children's crop, there are so many rats. They're eating away all the grains. So I must eat all these rats and protect the crops of my kids. Okay, so this was his proposal. Then Narada Muni said, okay, fine, do it. Then Narada Muni started shouting, snake, 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 snake. Then all the children in that same house, who are basically descendants of Kailash, they came out. His children and grandchildren came out and started beating Kailash with snakes. Then Kailash finally said, Narada Muni, please take me with you. So my own sons and my own grandsons are beating me now. They are trying to kill me now because I may harm them, but I am here to protect them. So this is how lifetime after lifetime, we may become so overly attached to our body, property, belongings, children, relatives, this and that, and waste our human form of life. It's not worth. So detachment means as soon as an able successor is ready to take charge of your responsibilities, you should responsibly transfer all your responsibilities to the person and you retire to perform bhakti continuously. Okay. So Prabhupada writes oftentimes in the first canto of Bhagavatam, Rajarshis means very saintly kings. They never held on to their positions till the fag end of their life. They would retire from their kingdom as soon as there is an able successor to take charge of the kingdom. So this is how we need to do. Sometimes it may be our need to help our so-called dependents than their need to take our help. Getting right? Sometimes we depend on others' dependence on us. When somebody comes to take our support, take our help, ask us questions or doubts, or express their dependence on us, then we feel a sense of achievement. We feel a sense of self-worth. We feel we are great. So we should come out of that illusion. Even if you are helping others with all your compassion, you should only do it in the mood of service. Means this soul needs some help in Krishna consciousness. And Lord Krishna has given me this service of helping this person. Therefore, let me help this person to the best of my ability, right? So you should do it as a representative of Krishna, not a replacement for Krishna. You should do it as a service, not in the mode of controlling or an accomplisher or a doer. Because this doership mentality will lead to enjoyership mentality. If you think you are the doer, you will naturally think you are the enjoyer. I have done it, means I should enjoy. Okay, the results of what I have done. I have helped these people, they should become subordinate to me. Right? I taught them how to chant Hare Krishna. Now they are not listening to me. Sometimes even in Bhakti also, we may feel a sense of ownership towards the people whom we preach to, or we may feel a sense of entitlement. We feel we are entitled for certain privileges or honor or respect. That's an illusion. Narada Muni says in the 13th chapter, first canto, Kala karma gunadhino deho yam pancha bhautikaha katham anyastu gopayet sarpagrastho yathaparam. Kala karma gunadhino. Every living being is under the control of Kala, means time. Karma, you understand, fruitive baggage. Guna means Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, three modes. Kala karma gunadhino dehoyam. This body is also conditioning them. Pancha bhautikaha. There are 5 material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So we are all always under the clutches of these 5 things, which are like snake, right? Dehoyam pancha bhautikaha. Katham anyastu gopayat. If you are being swallowed by the serpent of these 5 things, serpent of time, sarpagrasta, you are a sarpagrasta, how can you help someone? So the python is swallowing you inside, and you say, my dear friend, I'll help you, take my hand. You will take that fellow also inside the python's mouth, right? You are going into Aghasur, and you are calling to and 10 other people also along with you. It's like that. So we should not think we are the saviors or protectors of other people. We should save them. We should protect them in the mode of service on behalf of Krishna, right? With whatever blessings or capacities, resources, money or manpower or time or skills that Krishna has given me, let me serve other devotees. We should do it in the mode of service, not in the mode of accomplishment, right? So, coming back to our discussion. So, 28th shloka. Excuse me, Matas. Avyaktadini bhutani
Avyaktadini bhutani
Vyaktamadhyani bharata
Vyaktamadhyani bharata
Avyaktanidhananyeva
Avyaktanidhananyeva
Tatra ka paridevana.
Tatra ka paridevana.
Avyaktadini bhutani Vyaktamadhyani bharata. Adi means in the beginning. Avyakta, all the living beings. Bhutani means not ghosts here. Okay, Bhuta is not ghost. Bhuta is a living being here. So all the living beings in the beginning are avyakta, means they are unmanifest. Vyakta madhyani bharata, in the middle state, interim state, they are visible. Avyakta nidhani, after death again they are invisible. Means before birth you have not seen the person. After death you will not see that person. Between birth and death, you are able to see the person and activities. Does it mean that before birth he did not exist, or after that he will not exist? No. He is existent all the time, but you will see him active in a body, functioning in a certain way, only during the lifetime. So why are you unnecessarily lamenting? You have never seen the person, you only have seen the person's body, and the body is anyway subject to death. Sometimes we become so attached to this body and physical forms that we forget that people are souls. Say somebody is good looking or fair complexion or looks very handsome or beautiful, we get attracted to the looks. But actually speaking, you remove this 1 mm or half mm layer of skin on the body. What's inside? Can you differentiate who is this person and who is not this person? Whether this is the human body or an animal body or a male body or female body or my friend's body or my enemy's body, we cannot even recognize once this small wrapper of skin is removed. What's inside is just flesh, blood, bones, mucus, stool, bile, nerves, hairs. teeth. This is what is there in this body. And too much of bodily conception, too much of attachment to the body, too much of makeup on the body, too much being bodily conscious, we get attracted to the external shine of the body, which is properly called skin disease. There is skin disease, right? And or we become disgusted with the external form of the body, and we want to be good looking, we want to be appealing physically. But actually, Krishna sees the heart. When I was a small child, once I was playing, whole day I was playing. Sunday, okay. Then my mother called me at the end of the day. Okay, I was so dirty. My God, I was so dirty, and my mother called me inside and said, "You should take a bath now. You should immediately take a bath. Are you not ashamed of being so dirty? All your friends are there, they look so clean, they look so brilliant, and you look so dirty. Are you not ashamed of it? Immediately take a bath." I said, "Yes, my dear mother, I have already realized that I am very dirty. So I have an idea now. Give me powder. I'll apply powder on my face so that I look nice." Right? Of course, last 15 years, no powder on the face. But in childhood, we used to have this habit of putting some Pond's powder on the face and we'll go out. I said, "I will look fresh. Just give me some powder. I don't have time to take bath now. Don't push me now." My mother said, she chastised me even more. She scolded me even more and said, "If you put powder on your face, you will look fresh, but you don't become fresh." Right? If you put makeup on your face, from a distance, people will think that you are fresh. But as soon as you go close to them, you will stink. Right? So better you take a bath. You would immediately take a bath. Then I took bath. Okay. So the point is that oftentimes we focus on presenting ourselves in a nice and appealing way externally without purifying our heart internally. I spoke about bodily cleanliness, but a state of shuchi or cleanliness beyond bodily cleanliness is the cleanliness of heart. When there is lust, envy, pride, greed in the heart, Krishna will feel very uncomfortable to sit. Say some special guest comes to your home. You have given him a nice seat. He sat in the seat. Okay. Another fellow comes. You tell this first guest, "Can you please adjust? The other guy will sit here next to you." Now, third fellow comes. Then you say, "Can you please adjust?" And you keep that person also next to him. So how will the first person feel? So 5-6 guests are coming. You are giving the same seat to all of them. So how will the first guest feel? He'll just get up and go. Similarly, when we are inviting Krishna into our hearts by chanting the holy names, by reading Bhagavatam, by hearing Bhagavad Gita, we should keep that seat of our heart clean, and we should not allow Mr. Lust, Mr. Envy, Mr. Pride, Mr. Greed to also sit in the same seat of our hearts. Eki heart, anyone here who has 10 hearts or 2 hearts at least? Everybody has only 1 heart, right? And that 1 heart is meant only for Krishna, not for Mr. Lust, Mr. Envy, Mr. Pride. So when all these people come and sit in the same seat, Krishna will feel very uncomfortable. He'll get up and go. You want Krishna to go away from your heart. So that's the main point. So we need to purify our existence. When we need to purify our hearts and allow Krishna to reside there. Otherwise, we'll have to take birth after birth. We'll have to go through multiple lifetimes. Okay, 29 shloka. Sumitra Mataji. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena.
आश्चर्यपच्यसे कश्चिदेनम्
Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva cha anyaham.
माश्चर्यपतितचान्यम्
Ascharyavatchaina manyah shrunoti.
आश्चर्यवश्चिन्मत्क्रियते
Okay. Shrutvapienam vedana chaiva kaschit.
श्रुत्वापेनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Okay. So this is an amazing shloka. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam. Some people see soul as amazing. Ashcharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Some other people will describe soul as amazing. Ashcharyavachena manyashrunoti. Some people hear that the soul is amazing. But even after hearing about the soul, some people cannot understand how the soul is amazing. That's amazing. So that's this shloka, amazing shloka. Next, last shloka. Divya Leela Mataji. Dehi nityam avadyoyam.
Dehi nityam
Nityamavadyoyam
Dehe sarvasya bharata.
Dehe sarvasya bharata
Tasmat sarvani bhutani.
Tasmat sarvani bhutani
Natvam shochitumarhasi.
Natvam sochitumarhasi.
Dehi nityam avadyoyam. Dehi means one who is living in deha, that is soul. That's nityam, permanent. Avadhyo means he is not subjected to death. Dehe sarvasya bharata. All the living beings living in different material bodies, they are never subjected to death. Tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitumarhasi. Therefore, you should not lament. This is the final conclusion. So we discussed 20 shlokas, 11 to 30. 11 shloka to 30 shloka. Total 20 shlokas have the same message. Matter is temporary, spirit is permanent. Or, in other words, body is temporary, soul is eternal. Therefore, don't lament, just fight. Do your duty. Okay? So that completes one section. Next section is very small. We'll complete this also. That is 31 to 37. That's Sakama Karma. So far, he gave the Jnana perspective. Okay, based on this analytical knowledge of matter and spirit or body and soul, you better don't lament, just fight. Now there is another perspective, which is not the highest meaning of the shloka, highest message of Bhagavad Gita. That is Sakama Karma, or working for enjoyment. Means, karma means work. Sakama means you work with a desire in the heart, with an aspiration to attain something. Okay. So, in short, now you just see this slide, you will understand the essence of 7 shlokas. Very nice. Arjuna has 2 options. One, to fight. Second, not to fight. Right? If he fights, there are two possibilities. He may win, he may lose. Okay? If he fights and wins in the war, he will enjoy the kingdom. Right? But if he loses, means if he dies in the war, he will go to Swargaloka and enjoys heaven there. It is said that Kshatriyas who do not show their backs in the battlefield, but fight very courageously, such people will go to Swargaloka, right? Therefore, he will enjoy in heaven. So these are the 2 possibilities when fighting. If he doesn't fight, you know what will happen? He will incur sin. Why sin? Because he has given up his duty as a Kshatriya, therefore he will become sinful. Second, infamy. People will criticize him that, oh, Arjuna, such a great warrior, so-called warrior, he has become afraid seeing Bhishma, Drona on the battlefield, Karna on the battlefield, he ran away. People will gossip about him. Then criticize him. People will criticize him unnecessarily. He is a coward, this and that. So criticism, infamy, sin. These are the results of not fighting. But the results of fighting, whether you win or lose, you will gain enjoyment. So this is called Sakama Karma, which is definitely not the ultimate teaching of Bhakti, teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is not here to encourage us to do Sakama Karma and attain some enjoyment either in heaven and earth. Whether you win or lose, you should work in a Nishkama mode, okay, in a detached mode. That's the ultimate teaching that will come little later. So next, let's go one by one. Divya Leela Mataji. Sadharmam swadharmam api cha vikshya.
Swadharmam api cha vikshya.
Navikampitum arhasi.
Navikampitum arhasi.
Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat.
Dharmyadhi yuttas shreyo. Shreyonat.
Kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Now Krishna is talking about swadharma, means one's duty as a kshatriya. Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitum arhasi. Even if you encounter hundreds of difficulties, you should not give up your swadharma. You should not give up your duty, specific duty as a kshatriya, which is fighting. Okay. Then dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat. If you engage yourself in a dharma yuddha, a religious war, a war that is bona fide, then you are actually acting according to your nature as a kshatriya. Kshatriyasana vidyati. There is no better engagement for you than just engaging in war dutifully. Okay. So next shloka. So there are two types of dharmas, swadharma and sanatana dharma. Swadharma is temporary material duties according to one's varna and ashrama. Sanatana dharma means eternal spiritual duties as servants of Krishna. So what is sanatana dharma here? Sravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, patasevam. What is swadharma here? Doing agriculture or ruling, etc. Okay. Next, 32nd shloka. Kanchana varnamatu. Yadrichaya chopapannam.
Yadrichaya chopapannam.
Svargadvaramapavritam.
Svargadvaramapavritam.
Sukhinah kshatriyaha partham.
Sukhinah kshatriyaha partha.
Labhante yuddhamidrisham.
Labhante yuddhamidrisham.
Yadrichaya chopapannam svargadvaramapavritam. So, kshatriyas were very fortunate. They get opportunities to fight without their persuasion. And in that fight, they will get open doors to enter a Svargaloka. Because in a war, if you perform your duty of fighting without showing your back, you are destined to go to Svargaloka. Sukhinah kshatriyaha partha labhante yuddhamidrisham. We can go to Svargaloka. Now, when I was teaching Bhagavad Gita to children, one kid asked, actually many kids asked, Prabhu, why Krishna is speaking about going to Svargalok? We have to go to Golok, right? That is their question, innocent question. So the answer is simple. This is not the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is just inspiring Arjuna to fight from various perspectives. From Jnana perspective, till so far, he told soul is eternal, body is temporary, fight. Okay. From Sakama Karma perspective, you spoke about loss of enjoyment, right? It was Arjuna who raised this topic of enjoyment earlier in the first chapter. Oh, I will not be able to enjoy without my relatives. Then Krishna says, whether you win or lose, if you participate in war, you will definitely enjoy. Don't worry about it. Okay. So Krishna is just highlighting another perspective and also addressing the concern raised by Arjuna. That's all. Otherwise, Krishna is not giving his ultimate teaching in this, 3-4 shlokas here. Okay. So going to Svargalok is not our ultimate goal. Next, Harshita Mataji. You recited this, right? Athachetvam idam dharmyam. Okay, Rukmini Mataji. A lot of noise is coming. Athachetvam imam dharmyam. Sangramam na karishyasi. Tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsyasi. Akirtim cha vibhutani katahishyami te vyayam. Sambhavitasya cha kirter maranad atirichyate. Very simple shlokas. But if you give up your dharma of fighting in this religious war, dharmic war, then what will you get? Papam. You will get sinful reaction of abandoning your duty. When you are supposed to perform a duty, you are supposed to do it. But if you give up your prescribed duty, you will attain papam. Second is akirtim. You will also become infamous. Okay. For a person who is honored, dishonor is worse than death. So better you don't become sinful, you don't become infamous, you fight. So this is the essence of these two shlokas. So next shloka. So this section is totally contextual. Gita's message is not to be famous and prestigious in the society. Kirti. So to get kirti is not the goal of life. To get Krishna Prema is the goal of life. Okay. Next. Criticism. Next two shlokas. Mandaleshwar Prabhu. Bhayadranaduparatam
Ayadranaduparatam
mamsyante tva maharathaha
mamshetam maharata
yesham chatvam bahumato
esham tvam bahumato
bhutva yasyasi laghavam.
bhutva yashasvi laghavam.
Rukmini Mataji. Avacyavadamscha bahun
Avachyavadam cha bahun
vadishyanti tavahitaha
vadishyanti tavahitaha
nindantastava samarthyam
nindantastav samarthyam
tato dukkataram nukim.
tato dukhataram nukim.
Bhayadranaduparatam mamsyamte tvam maharathaha. You are a maharathi, great warrior, but people will think that you have run away from battlefield. Ranaduparatam, out of bhaya, means fear. People will think that you got scared seeing Bhishma Drona. Yesham te tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. They will minimize your glory, Arjuna. You have got so many military certificates. Now people will defame you, oh Arjuna. Avachyavadam, they will speak very impolite words. Vadishyanti tavahitaha, they will completely defame you. They will minimize your position. Nindastaha, nindantaha means they will perform ninda, criticism. Tava samarthyam, they will underestimate you. Tato dukkataram nukim. What else could be more painful than that? So don't become infamous. Don't become an object of criticism of great people. So you better focus on your duty. Okay. So actions are visible, but motivations are not visible, isn't it? Sometimes, for example, in Arjuna's context, he gave up the battle. That people will see. But his motivation behind giving up that battle, people will not see. Okay. People will have their own perceptions and their own comments and commitments. Right? So therefore, our actions must be exemplary as much as possible. They may misunderstand us, but who has given them the scope to misunderstand us? Don't blame the people who have misunderstood you. You blame yourself for behaving in such a way that people misunderstand you. Understand? Because we need to take responsibility for our actions. Out of all kinds of pain that is available in this world, the pain of being misunderstood by someone is very painful. It's extremely intense, isn't it? Have you ever been misunderstood by someone in life till now? Right? Many, right? Mostly. Everybody must be having this experience. It's very painful to be misunderstood by someone. However, we should also understand that we are misunderstood because of our own misbehavior. We have behaved in such a way, or we have spoken in such a way that we gave a scope to others for misunderstanding us. Of course, some people causelessly misunderstand us. Even if our behavior may be exemplary and very fitting, still people will misunderstand. That's fine. We don't have any control over their response. We have control over our own actions only. We have no control over others' response. But as much as possible, let me not behave in such a way that other people misunderstand me. That's the message here. You should set a good example. We should just do whatever is expected from us. Okay. So 37th shloka. This is the conclusion. Anandita Mataji. Hato va prapchyasi swargam.
Hato va prapchyasi swargam.
Jitva va bhokshasi mahim.
Jitva va bhokshasi mahim.
Tasmaduttishta kaunteya.
Tasmaduttishta kaunteya.
Yuddhaya krita nishchayah.
Yuddhaya krita nishchayah.
Hatova means if you die in the battle. Prapyasi Swargam, you will attain Swargalok. Jitvava, if you become victorious, Bhokshase Mahim, you will enjoy on the earthly planet. Tasmad, therefore, Uttishta Kaunteya, get up Arjuna. Yuddhaya Kritanishchayaha. You perform your duty of fighting with full certainty. So this is the gist of this whole shloka, which is a whole section, which is Sakama Karma, which is not the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Right? This is the summary. If you fight, you will win and you will enjoy kingdom. But if you lose, you will enjoy in heaven. If you don't fight, you will get sin, you will become infamous, and people will criticize you. Okay. So then one shloka I'll take from the next section, which is Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. Fine, working with detachment. So far Krishna spoke about working with attachment for enjoyment, but now he speaks about working with detachment. Ultimately, we should not just work with attachment or detachment, we should work with devotion. We should work for Krishna. Arjuna, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he agreed to fight. Not that he understood, yes, I'm a Kshatriya, I have to fight. No. He understood that I'm a devotee of Krishna and Krishna wants me to fight to establish dharma. Therefore, my duty is to render service to Krishna and fight. So, Arjuna's participating in Kurukshetra war is a part of his Bhakti Yoga. It's not just Kshatriya dharma. It is a part of Bhakti Yoga. Sometimes as a part of our Bhakti, we may have to do management, we may have to do Sravanam Kirtanam, we may have to do deity worship, we may do many other things as a part of Bhakti. Okay. But in all that, we need to be very equipoised. Vivek Prabhu. Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Labha labho jaya jayo.
Labha labho jaya jayo.
Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Naivam papam avapsyasi.
Naivam papam avapsyasi.
Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Whether it is happiness or distress, be equipoised. He's repeating the teaching. Labha alabha. Labha means gain, alabha is loss. Whether loss or gain, be equipoised. Jaya jayo. Jaya means victory, ajaya means defeat. So whether it is happiness or distress, gain or loss, or victory or defeat, in all these three types of dualities, you maintain same kritva, maintain equanimity. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Then you will not incur any sin. So with this, he began the teaching of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So that next teacher will teach. I'll conclude my portion here. So thank you so much. And I'm sorry if I have caused you any inconvenience, either with my pace or presentation or accent or examples or explanations or whatever it may be. So you please become Saragrahis and only accept the essence of what is discussed in the last 3 days. And if there are any mistakes, kindly forgive me. And I seek your blessings so that I maintain proper consciousness in this Radhashtami festival, which we are celebrating day after tomorrow, right? And the blessings and prayers of sincere-hearted devotees are a great source of our spiritual strength. So, desiring and seeking all your blessings, I'll conclude here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you have any questions or comments, we can take for some time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, in battlefield, whoever dies, he will get the heavenly planets. It's mentioned in Shastra. But in today's wars, also they get that only? Or?
Yeah. Today's wars are mostly not Kshatriya wars. They may, to some degree, but it's not necessary that someone dies in a Kali Yuga war will attain heaven. It may happen, but it's not necessarily so. Because in those days, Kshatriyas used to fight to establish dharma, to protect their citizens as a service to the Lord. But if that intention is not there, then such kind of war is just mere expression of one's false ego, and there is no dharma there. Okay. If it is a dharma yuddha, the outcome is pleasant, whether we win or lose. If it is a adharma yuddha, we may end up in hell. Right? Next.
One more question, Prabhu. Should I ask?
Hmm.
Prabhu, we are telling our scriptures. Muslim tell about their scriptures. But in their scriptures, they are written non-veg they can eat. Whereas in our scripture, it is not mentioned like that. You should not, you are getting the action what you're getting. Now my kid has asked this question to his Muslim friend. He was telling that if we kill animal, they will get new body and they will get, we are giving justice for them. Like that, he was questioning like that.
The same question is asked by Chand Kazi to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our scriptures encourage. Our scriptures say, okay, you can do it. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a long explanation. Okay. You can read Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 17th chapter for the conversation that happened between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at that time he was Nimai, and Chand Kazi. So their elaborate details are given. In short, Mahaprabhu says that some scriptures that are available now are very recently written by people who may not be that experienced. Okay. But some scriptures are available since long time. Okay. So therefore we need to also understand the the depth of the scripture also, the depth of the word spoken also. But we need to also restrain ourselves from publicly commenting anyone and hurting their sentiments. We need to be a little sensitive in presenting what we know or what we believe to be the truth. Okay, we need to respect everyone for whatever they are, but at the same time, we should not compromise on our standard. Okay, thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Audible. First of all, thank you so much. Actually, you can see my pages are blank because I'm just engrossed in hearing your lecture. My 2 days class are pending. I will sit and write all the notes just because I want to hear you. So many takeaways from the 3 classes. Much appreciable. Thank you so much for all these beautiful lessons. And please bless me so that I can apply in my life as well. So first of all, and second thing, since I have shifted myself from the Hindi batch to English batch, and whoever speakers were there, so we requested every speaker at the end of the last class to speak about themselves so that we can also get the inspiration that how did they come to Krishna consciousness. Maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever. You can speak for 30 minutes, we don't have any problem, but this is a humble request on behalf of all the devotees. And third, I have a question. You mentioned while you were explaining 2.14, having sentiments is not wrong, but being sentimental is wrong. So kindly please elaborate. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, I am grateful to you for your kind words and blessings. And then secondly, how I came to Krishna consciousness, I didn't know. Is it a protocol in this batch? Everyone has to speak to that. Anyways, I can speak in short. When I joined my college in 2005, August 1st, I joined my master's in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So they gave me hostel keys. I went to my hostel room and I found a very beautiful picture of Murali Krishna. You must have seen that picture, right? So I think I can open it also, if it is there in my laptop. So I have seen a very big painting of Murali Krishna in my hostel room. Probably the person who was living in that room must have kept it. He must have liked it. But somehow that picture just caught my attention. And I told the cleaning guy, you don't remove it. You just keep it. I'll complete my admission formalities and come back to you. Come back to the room. But I went, and after I came back after a couple of hours, and the picture was missing. I was very disappointed. And I asked the cleaning guy, where is the picture? And he said something in Kannada. I didn't understand. I didn't know Hindi also. I didn't know Kannada also. He didn't know English. He didn't know Telugu. So it was a big communication gap. And maybe he thought that I told him to remove it. Who knows? So somehow I lost the picture. This is the picture. It's a very big picture displayed there. But one of my aunts who was living in Bangalore, she said, this kind of pictures are available in ISKCON. I said, what is ISKCON? She didn't know what is ISKCON. She said, ISKCON means Krishna temple. ISKCON means Krishna temple. Okay, which language is this? She did not know it's International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So anyways, she took me to the temple that weekend. Then I went to the temple only in search of that picture, and I managed to find it on the bookshop. Then immediately ran to the bookshop and asked him, give me this picture. He said, 20 rupees. I said, okay, I'll pay you. He's very smart ISKCON book distributor. And he said, if you take this book, this picture is free. I said, okay, fine, show me the book. It's Krishna book. And inside there are so many other pictures like that. Right? So I was attracted to all those pictures also. I said, okay, I took the book. I took Prabhupada's book, and I took the Krishna picture. So the Darshan and Prabhupada's book both came to my room after 100 days on November 10th, 2005. One of my classmates came to my room and asked me, seeing that picture and seeing the book, are you an ISKCON devotee? I said, what does that mean? He said, ISKCON devotee. Yeah, ISKCON devotee means they chant Hare Krishna. I said, I'm not chanting. But this picture is there. Yes, I like that picture, and I went to the temple a couple of times and I liked it. So I just kept it. I didn't read the book completely, but it's nice. Then he said, there are some ISKCON devotees in your college. If you like, I can introduce you to them. And he said, they are chanting Hare Krishna. They're doing some Mangalarti every day morning. They're discussing some Bhagavatam. If you like, I can introduce you to them. I said, I don't mind. Then November 11th, he introduced me to the devotees. And a couple of years down the line, I ended up in an ashram. Right? So my first connection to ISKCON is that picture of Murali Krishna. And of course, Prabhupada's book is also there. So I first came in touch with Darshan and another Darshan, which is the philosophy. So Darshan has two meanings. One is the visual scene or some visual that you see. Darshan also means a philosophical insight. So both came to my room. That brought me to ISKCON. Okay, then third thing. What was the third question that you asked me, please?
So it's only being how you are continuing till now. That's also, please share.
Yeah, I joined Chopati, and eventually I was initiated by His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. And we were instructed to come to Govardhan Eco Village in 2010. And since then, I have been participating in services here. Initially website, then construction, then DT worship, then Bhaktivedanta Vidyapeeth, teaching, writing, and all this. All Krishna's mercy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's very inspirational to see all of you so young devotees taking the charge of this big responsibilities. So that's very pleasing. Prabhuji, my question was that having sentiments is not wrong. Being sentimental is
yes. So having sentiments means you need to have some finer emotions for Krishna. For example, Radhashtami is coming up. You can have a sentiment that on this festival day I should cook something and offer to Srimati Radharani. That's a very nice spiritual sentiment. Or or I will chant some extra rounds. Every day I chant 16, today I will chant 25 because Radharani has 25 qualities. Okay. So like that, you can have some sentiments which will eventually bring you closer to Krishna. That's great. But being sentimental means, say, you are going for an exam, Bhakti śāstrī exam, and you will say, this is my favorite pen. Okay, when I write this, with this pen, then only I will get good marks. So if I write with this pen, my God, I may fail. That is being sentimental. Imagination. There is no logic behind it. There is no basis for it. Right? So now whether we write the exam well or not depends on how much we understood the subject, not necessarily according to the pen that we use. So sometimes we may have some silly sentiments, or when we are just passing by, one devotee just sees us and then he doesn't greet and then he'll just move ahead. Then we start imagining, oh, this devotee is upset with me. He did not talk to me. He is displeased with me. I must have offended the devotee. My life is useless. I should commit suicide. And he will just go and say, I'm sorry, Prabhu. What mistake did I do? Please forgive me. And he doesn't figure out what is happening. He may be thinking of something else and then he just passed and he didn't notice you probably, right? So he didn't mean to ignore you, but you felt that ignore and you started imagining 100 different things. That is being sentimental. So like that, there are so many such imaginary things. So we should not be victims of that mentalities. Okay.
So, thank you so much for this beautiful explanation. So it may happen with the non-devotees also, may relatives and friends also. So it's in the beginning when we encounter such situations, obviously a person like me gets agitated. Maybe the situations may be varied types. So gradually, maybe I may understand, okay, this must have happened or like that. So the beginning point when you encounter those type of situations, how to understand, how to control your emotions that time, if any practical tips are there.
Yes. So first we need to sharpen our intelligence. We give in to mind's emotions or sentiments or feelings or desires, etc., when we don't have proper rational philosophical intelligence. So we should be able to sharpen our intelligence by studying Shastra regularly, so that intelligence will control our mind's emotions or desires or thoughts or feelings. So in the body chariot analogy, the 5 senses of the body are compared to the 5 horses. And the reins are compared to mind. And the driver who is holding the reins, ropes, the driver is compared to intelligence, right? So intelligence controls the mind. So yes, mind's thoughts and feelings and emotions have their role to play in spiritual life, but that does not mean that we become unnecessarily emotional or sentimental and given to mind's desires and thoughts and unfavorable feelings. Okay. Next. Gaurav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So thank you very much, Guru, for the wonderful sessions over the last 3 days. So my question is, Prabhuji, just 2 questions I have. The first question is, just I want to check my understanding on the from 31 to 37, this section you told, like Sakam Karma, Krishna is not telling the highest thing or the what is our actual goal, but Krishna is telling us just to inspire Arjuna to fight. Is it the purpose of explaining Sakam Karma?
Yes.
And to explain us this, how the Sakam Karma is also a path, but it's not inspiring.
It is never a recommendation. It is only a possibility. He's also highlighting that possibility. Okay. It's like you need a phone, for example. So the shopkeeper may show you. So there is this phone. It has 64 GB memory. It has whatever 2 GB or 8 GB RAM. It has camera, whatever 8 megapixel or 16 or 100 megapixel, whatever it may be. He just explained multiple features. But the recommendation could be one mobile, but you may show 10 mobiles, 10 phones, 10 phones and explain those features also. But the recommendation is one. It's like that. Sakama karma is one option. Nishkama karma is another option. Or to extend it, karma yoga is one option. Jnana yoga is one option. Ashtanga yoga is one option. Bhakti yoga is another option. Krishna explained all four, but he recommended only Bhakti yoga, not the first three. Right? But for some people, they may take karma yoga also. Let them take. But it's not Krishna's recommendation. Some people may take Jnana yoga, some people may take Ashtanga yoga also, but it's not Krishna's recommendation. He recommended ultimately Bhakti yoga. Bhakti is the best. But if you want these three, fine, you take, not a problem. You will end up in this destination. Right? So just to show a contrast also. For example, we dress the deities, right? The deities wear nice jewelry. You have some golden ornaments, so golden necklace or golden bangles or golden anklets. You take all of them, we take all of them in a tray that has velvet cloth, very thick, dark blue velvet or green velvet cloth or maroon velvet cloth. We take jewelry on that so that the golden necklace or silver pile is visible there. But if we take all the jewelry in a steel plate, we cannot see properly. Why? There is no contrast. Similarly, along with Bhakti, Krishna explained many other paths also, just to show a contrast, how Bhakti is superior to all of them. But it's not that Krishna is recommending Karma Yoga is the ultimate path. No. Jnana Yoga is the ultimate path. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate path. Because in the spiritual world, Karma Yoga doesn't exist. No karmis in spiritual world, no jnanis in spiritual world, no yogis in spiritual world. Nobody in the spiritual world, Goloka or Vaikuntha, is doing some karma to get some Sargalok, or doing some jnana to attain impersonal Brahman, or doing some dhyana to get some liberation. No, to get some other Ashtasiddhis. Everybody is doing bhakti only. Okay.
Just a small thing, Prabhuji, just I want to ask here. Just like the last day you told about when someone asked like how should we read the scriptures, you told about referring to the book, reading and writing the scripts, reading and teaching the scriptures, that book. So just wanted to ask like the Subhodhini series that we found, like that we have written, is very much helpful for us, especially for me, for reading different scriptures like Bhagavatam and so on. So I just wanted to ask, like, if I want to, just for my own understanding, not for like in this manner, like I want to also prepare notes in this manner and like while reading the scriptures, so that sometimes these concise manner and brief manner written helps us to go through fast or to revise and those things. So is those way of how to make notes is also there in that book? There
is one big section on how to make notes, why to make notes. Benefits of making notes. Yes. All these are covered. How to learn shlokas, how to make notes, how to study, how to revise, how to give classes, how to prepare for classes, how to give presentations to different categories of audiences, and how to revise, how to ruminate, how to make notes. Everything is there in that. Very comprehensive.
Okay.
Yet concise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Kanchana Varana Mataji.
Hi, Prabhuji. Maybe my question is partially answered, but maybe I could be having some wrong understanding. So my question was, why this section is even there? Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about so many things. It seems to me like Vyasadeva, he wrote like other than Srimad Bhagavatam, so many scriptures, and then like he did not emphasize bhakti very much there. So Krishna is recommending bhakti, but there are other processes as well. So people can get confused with other processes.
So that confusion is very good in the sense that people who are not qualified are filtered out. Those who are very serious to serve Krishna are admitted into the process of bhakti, because they will easily figure out, oh, this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, not that. Sakama karma is not the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Ashtanga yoga, it's not the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So those who are serious in reaching out to Krishna, they will figure out the essence and follow the essence. But others get diverted by some substandard things. That's why Krishna kind of filters out all of them. If everybody is given the ultimate essence very in explicit terms, in very clear terms, then what happens is that those who are unqualified also may just get admitted, okay, into bhakti. So while bhakti is very nicely propagated by acharyas, by teachers, at the same time the confidentiality of bhakti is also preserved. Okay, so that's important for us to admit people into the path when they are really qualified and when they're very serious. So Maya tests us, Krishna's energy tests us, whether we have come to disturb Krishna or serve Krishna, right? So, okay, thank you.
So Prabhuji, so people, if they say that Bhagavad Gita also says that you should do this, you will get it. Like, people might quote this karma yoga, etc.
Yes,
So
people will quote that. People will quote that, but we should be able to explain them that there are 100 other things in Bhagavad Gita. You quote Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yedana Paripasate. You quote Manmana Bhav Mad Bhakto Madhyajivam Namaskuru. You quote Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. So in a speech, in a class, speaker may speak 10 different things. Today also I spoke so many examples, analogies, lifetime, my life examples and all that, right? Some stories and slokas and all that. But there is some essential point, right? Did you write everything in your notes? No, you wrote only main points. That is the essence. All other explanations are given to make that main point, right? I spoke about one incident that happened in my childhood where my mother scolded me. Okay. Or I spoke Kailash's story. I spoke something else. Yesterday I spoke that toy mobile story. So I spoke many things only to make that point, and you have noted that point. Similarly, Krishna spoke many things to drive us to the main conclusion of bhakti. He spoke about bhakti in every single chapter of all the 18 chapters of Gita. But he did not speak sakama karma in every single chapter. He spoke only here. Okay. That also he criticized later. So one cannot take one or two shlokas from Gita or from Bhagavatam out of context and quote, this is the ultimate message. Is this the conclusive message? Is this a categorical conclusive message? Or it's just spoken while making some point? Okay. So when the more thoroughly we read, the more we will be able to defend Gita and then present the essence to others. Next, Harshita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances and gratitude. So you asked if there was any inconvenience. The only inconvenience is that we want to hear more sessions from you, but we are not able to.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask two small things. That you mentioned that the 1 by 10,000 of the air is not the actual soul, actual size of the soul. It is just mentioned to give us some idea. So I've not read all of Prabhupada's books yet. So can you please tell where can we find it, so that if we tell someone else also, then it will be helpful for them also, that they can know about it and helpful for us also.
What reference are you asking, Mataji?
For that 1 by 10,000, that it is not the actual size. It is just to give us.
I don't recollect where exactly I read it, but it's very clear, right? It's inferred. It may not be explicitly mentioned, but can that be the size of the soul? It's only meant to inform us that it's very sukshma, it's very imperceptible to our material eyes. Okay. So that explanation is there within Bhagavad Gita only. Achedyo yamadahyo yamakledyo shoshevaja. That series of shlokas are there where soul is inconceivable and imperceptible is also mentioned, right? So this is kind of matching that point.
Okay, and so just one pronunciation related question. There are some words in which the before the first letter there is a comma. So in the word meaning, it is given as like HAM, beginning with a comma. So in the word meaning, it is given as aham, but in the shloka, A is not written. Only a comma is given before. So how to pronounce that separately and during the
Now, when
shloka?
there's sandhi, when you combine achedyoyam, it means achedya ayam. That a becomes silent when you combine that word with the previous word. Right? When you divide it, then it's achedya ayam. Okay. So, but when you combine it, that a just joins with the previous word. So at that time, that comma, that apostrophe is put.
While reciting the shloka, we do not speak the A sound.
Well, reciting shloka, you may not speak. And you want to be more explicit in recitation, okay, you can even pronounce it also. But generally, you just combine it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Krishna.
It's getting late. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very, very much, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, thank you for pointing out this very important principle, especially the Hanumanji principle you told us, and equanimity principle, the qualification for liberation, and today work for devotion, with devotion. So with that essence, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, two questions. Prabhuji, like when Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita,
Wish you happy Lalita Shashti, Prabhu.
So when Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita, his illusion was gone and he acted as Krishna told him. Lord Krishna told him. So Prabhuji, but Dhritarashtra also heard, but the Bhagavad Gita, but his heart was not changed. And I think Prabhuji, same with me also, like we have heard a lot of times, but still we are not transforming. So Prabhuji, what is this missing point which we have to work on so we also start acting?
I think yesterday we had a couple of questions on the same principle. Basically, we may gather a lot of information, we may learn a lot of lessons, but we may not be able to put them into practice or application immediately because that requires some purification of heart. So knowledge is here, application is here. So to reduce the gap, we should constantly try to increase our application part, put things into practice. So we need to serve with other devotees. Service gives us several opportunities to test how much we have realized or to realize. Through service, we realize what we have studied, and through service, we test ourselves how much we have realized. We understand how much we have realized. Okay. For example, we may read in Bhagavad Gita, Amanitvam Adam Bhitvam Ahimsa Kshantirarjivam. We have to be humble, we should not be proud. And that sloka comes in the exam, and we write that sloka. We got 50 out of 50, 100 out of 100. Wow, good Bhakti śāstrī degree. But when somebody says something to us, can we be humble? Or we have become offended? So we have understood that we have to be humble. We have repeated in our exam. We got degree also, but we could not cultivate the quality of humility. Okay. So all these lessons or principles that we are learning will become a part of our system. We'll be able to digest them, realize them, internalize them, and apply them to the degree we render services with other devotees to other devotees. So service is that circuit that converts knowledge into realization. Thank you. Jai Advaita Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to express my gratitude to you, Prabhu, for taking time. I know you're very, very busy. I've heard your stories from Gaur Gopal Prabhu and Raj Bihari Prabhu, who I associate regularly with. And yeah, they mentioned so many tremendous things that you have undertaken at GEV. So really very grateful for your time that you've taken to give us these last 3 days of classes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Next.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so very much that everybody knows that you have a little time. Even if you have don't time, but you know, every time you get agree to give us time. So really, thank you so much. And it was not like that just 2 chapters, but yes, all the students, all of us have got so much in just 3 sessions. So I just say humble obeisances on behalf of all the devotees. So, and just one thing that, you know, saying thanks is not enough, and request you that these little time, you know, I know that you are very busy, but this little time you give us, it's like very big thing for us. Little association of yours is really very uplifting. Thank you so very much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thanks. I thank everyone for your encouragement and prayers and blessings. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.